days and you just like, kind of, that is where I'm at this morning. So, seeing how I went, and then the noise I made afterwards was, Right, let me set this up. Don't know if people can tell, but I cleaned my shelf. So now it should look like things actually have a better place on the shelf. The thing is, right, I was taking the Funko Pops out of the boxes, not all of them, I've got 2. And then I sat there and I've gone, I feel like I prefer having Funko crap from them in the boxes. And so I'm not a collector of these. At one point when I was growing up, I did. But I saw Batman and I was like, how can I not get Batman? You know what I mean? Like, that's just it. And then that one's from Rick and Morty, that's Baltimore. And like, to me, it's crazy how that's the first. How many seasons ago was that now? I don't know, it's years ago now. I can't believe it. Time honestly flies by. I'm 25 now. I think I was like, what, 16, 17 when I started watching Rick and Morty. To me, I don't even know how stuff goes by like almost a decade. But then yeah, I also have my packaging up here. I just thought it looks a lot more. It just looks a lot nicer up here. I also need to put some more boards and stuff, sort some stuff out up here. But little skid. Oh, you can't even read it from over there. That's a pain in the ass. Yeah, sorry guys, I haven't got coffee this morning, so I just feel like I'm not gonna ever wake up fully the same this morning, to be honest. Oh, it's so cold. Yeah, this morning I will be sanding down boards. I will be doing, oh crap. It's a wheel. Be doing these 2 boards here. So, just get the bolt holes put in them, and then the countersink holes. And then we're sanding down. I want these to be added today, really. That is the main goal. So guys, if I can get my camera more a little bit, I will. Is that a little better? I feel like I got bed head this morning because I just got out of bed. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of a given when I say that, isn't it? So, seriously guys, I'm like, I need coffee. I can't have coffee because I can't have coffee. How disgraceful. Well, do I have a green tea or something like that? Just debating, isn't it? 1 second. I'm going to have to stick myself. I need some sort of caffeine. Ooh, I have Pro Plus on that. And I haven't taken my meds. I know I've got a song that I've not listened to for ages, you know. You better take cover. I don't know why that song stuck in my head, but that particular lyric is like, she made me a Vegemite sandwich. I think it's because you're coming from a land down under, right? And all I want to do is go back to Australia so bad. I saw a video talking about a new sticking set they found from it in Australia. It's like this big. And I'm like, bro, and it's a guy who's talking about it, and he's like, it did make me laugh. He was like, it's not a sticking set at this point, it's group. And they're going to send their hell divers. Bro, I tell you what, Australia's like a hellscape. No offence. I mean, it's lovely, but the animals and the wildlife eat your face. Right, let me just find my meds. I'm so tired today. I'm excited because I said finally, I can take the boards out of the mould. everyone knows me, so I've got a business, obviously. And I was going to be a pro skater when I was growing up, but I had a lot of injuries. Like this is my spine, tore my ACL, compound fracture, so the bone comes out the arm. But a lot of it caused me like nerve damage and nerve pain and issues like that. So I'd have a lot of Lyrica, which is just great. So it was like 300 milligrams a day, which is, you know, it's pretty average. I mean, 600, I think, max. I don't take that though, because it literally makes me zombified. I do, I'm in an RN, it's the worst medication for like dopey, honestly. So, I was looking for some of these because I ain't got any coffee at the moment. So instead, I've got Pro Plus, which is caffeine tablets. I'll take my ADHD tablets. They just take too long to kick in. I've got immediate release ones, but because if anyone knows what they are, like they hit you. But obviously, anything that goes into your system quicker, what goes up must come down. That's what I always say. And the quicker it goes up, the quicker it comes down. So when you take an extended release ADHD medication, it seeps into your system and then slowly dissipates throughout the day. Where if you take an immediate release one, it hits you really quick and then comes out your system really quick. It's really annoying. It's a bit like, what do you call it? Most medications who come into your system fast have to leave your system fast. It's the same as like Xanax or any of those, you know, or Alprazolam is the actual name for it. But then like diazepam, which I'm on, is which they actually do prescribe in this country, rarely, but for like seizures and stuff and pain, anxiety or whatever, they give it for. But that is fast acting. Long, well, not as fast acting as other ones. It can take up to an hour if you put it under your tongue. But I mean, like they tell you to like dissolve it under your tongue. That can last up to 12 hours. Like not the full effects, right? Don't get me wrong. There is obviously a peak feeling, but it's very rare you'll get a medication that you can take and it hits you quickly, relatively quickly, and lasts for quite a while. Like that anyway. Most medications, unfortunately, have that crashing feeling in the system. But yeah, this is just Pro Plus. You can go get these in like. Oh, I hope these are okay. Oh, damn it. They were split, the packet was split open, probably shouldn't have them. Check see if I have any others. No, I spoke too soon. I might have to take an ADHD tablet now. Damn it. Thank you, I appreciate that. Sorry, I didn't see that comment. Because I was going to look over and it just looks like someone said, say someone's joined. I appreciate that, I really do. That's the goal, really, to make, well, one, improve on state graphics by quite a long time. I mean, it looks so terrible, truthfully. That's not all of them, but you know what we're doing? Having a cup of tea. Normally it's like very, very sec. I'll be back. Bear with. I don't know how I managed to do that. Like, I managed to make a cup of tea, and by the time I finished making the cup of tea, it's cold. Incredible. Oh, that's taking a year to boost, to be honest with you. Sorry, like, what's that? Oh, do you know what, one thing I watched last night with my partner was that Manospheres thing. What idiots, bruv, what idiots. The funny thing is, they say about success, fair enough, I don't have a Lamborghini, right? But I'm not like that. I treat women with respect. I have a partner, a good life, a good job, I'm sober. Couldn't ask for more, really. And then they're like, oh, I've got this or that, but they're constantly on live. I go live in the morning, promote the business. They're constantly looking at the live stream. I was like, what a sad life, there's just no quality of life. And when you're being cucked, and I will say that, when you're being cucked by you're letting it happen, bro, there's no stability of a relationship. And I feel like when guys go, I want multiple wives, it feels very much like you're insecure. So you could, do you know when someone could be like, oh, I'm doing something first? It's like, if she's then cheats on you, you could be like, well, nah, sleep with your friends anyway. It's like insecurity to the lowest form. And they try and act like it's security, and it's just pathetic. Because the thing is, I was actually homeless and survived multiple knife attacks. Doubt that. I'm not trying to like. You can't guarantee anything, but from just their attitude, they're just too flipping. I mean, it all looks in with that look, Max. And look, I get out of bed, roll out of bed in the morning, get on with the day. Like they look like they took up. They you know, I call it a pretty boy because it's how I see it. Nothing wrong with looking after yourself, but don't act like all high and mighty and you know. And it's like they get a McLaren, and I saw a guy say, I won't get a McLaren because a girl won't know what a McLaren is. So you do everything judged on other people's opinion of you, never like what you enjoy. You just do stuff to please other people. How is that truly being yourself? I have such valid points that no one can actually make an argument against. If you want a McLaren, get a bloody McLaren, you know what I mean? If you like that car, it doesn't matter what other people think. You know what? If people worried what people thought all the time, humans would not have innovated as much as they have and been so creative. So they'd all been worried that it was different from the last person. Of course you've got to be different. What's up, man? I'm sorry, it's just you guys get mad at such a point, they got such a police, such a following. I'm not actually worried. was I was going to drink a few electrolytes because I feel like this actually wakes me up in the morning like proper. You want to be woken up? Have this. But yeah, man, what's up? But I didn't realise, because I was talking about this man's first thing, not realising it was actually a documentary about Louis Theroux or whatever. Well, I can't even say his name. But at the end of the day, regardless, I mean, I feel like he made them look like idiots. The amount of times they sat there and ahhing because they have nothing to say because, bro, they're incels, right? Fair enough, they're not. But they're making themselves, like, how is that a quality of life? They're like, oh, I've always thought, right, you shouldn't sell out yourself. It's like giving yourself to the devil, innit? You should, maybe you give yourself, give your work, give your all. But the moment you're like, do OF or something, just my opinion, I'm not dissing anybody, go get your bag, do whatever you're doing. But me, I wouldn't want to put, like, make my missus do that, or like make her feel like she has to do that, to like, I don't know, live. I want to be able to provide, and obviously if she wants to work as well, that's completely her choice. Like this whole, it really pisses me off. So I'm like, they're like, oh no, I don't care about other people's opinion. But then you go and turn around and you say you only get a McLaren. No, you won't get a McLaren because a girl won't know what a McLaren is. So even if you want a McLaren, you get a Ferrari. That is doing something because other people have an opinion on you. Me? Think I give a shit people think I fingerboard? No. Or I look like I need a haircut, short back and side? No. This is the whole point of why I don't do these things as well. It's like kind of goes against everybody wanting you to do this thing. It's like, why? Just for 1 minute, why am I going to go and spend 2 hours of my day going out to get a haircut, going here, going there, you know, going to do anything everyone else wants me to do, just to question myself at the end and be like, I'm not happy because it's not what I wanted to do. So what people really need to wake up to, right? Brainwashing. So I actually have my own fingerboard company and skateboard company, so I make skateboards and fingerboards, so it's Skate Addiction, but you can get yourself one of them. I have a glow-in-the-dark board at the moment with, see, I thought, I can't remember what trucks they are. They're not anything like special. The questions are mine. I make new wheels as well, and the urethane. Pushing some wheels, mate. Because see, my point is I watch it and I'm like, okay, cool. Right, there's two men, me, and there's someone like Andrew Tate. Right, fair enough, he has Lamborghinis and Ferraris. People might, I want that. But yet, I feel like, truthfully, and this is honest, I've travelled a lot. I had a lot of money at one point for reasons I will not disclose. But it's very obvious, isn't it, when you look back at my past life. But the funny thing is, you can admit that doesn't matter now. It's in the past. You know, my point is, you move on with it. You do become different people. But you know, I've had a bit of Bitcoin before as well. When I tried all these different things, it just, well, it's not a fun life. Because regardless, if I'm sitting there focusing on money, because money is the only thing that hits, gives me a bit of a hit, dopamine hit, the smallest dopamine hit, you're going to be chasing that. Not every time you land a trick, or every time you know, have a good conversation with a customer, or manage to change somebody's day. When you can make that your dopamine hit, it is so much easier to refill on it. In a selfish way, truthfully, that is a bit selfish, as you say, but humans require a feel-good factor. And if you're doing loads of things to feel good, which aren't actually benefiting anybody else or yourself, I don't see a point in it. But by me having a business where I can skate, I'm happy, means I can then put happiness into the world. You know what I mean? I can be a happier person, I can spread positivity. But if I'm doing like stocks and shares, like ticky-tocky, twatty-tot-tocky, right? Look how idiotic they look. I mean, I'm sorry they do. I don't care if someone calls me out on it and they'll be like, oh, what are you going to say, bro? I mean, people, if you're a follower, you'll know I'm a diagnosed sociopath, so we have that difference in me that I don't care about, like, the inevitable. I don't care about being beaten up. I know it can happen. I don't care about, like, my integrity or being, like, you know, like people would think a sociopath or somebody would. No, not at all. We just don't think the same. The frontal lobe's not developed. But my then belief is I don't care about other people's opinion on me. Now, that could become a negative thing. You could be like, I don't care what people's opinion is of me like they do, but then actually be a nasty person. Where I could be a nice person, not care about people's opinion of me. So even when I am being nice, their negative opinion just like bounces off me. I'm like, well, so what, you're saying? Oh, I draw, I fingerboard. Oh no, get a real job. When you buy a t-shirt with design on it, you think the graphic designer, would you tell them who you like the design of the shirt to go get a real job? I mean, I have so many valid points that no one can ever argue against because it's valid. But yeah, anyway, sorry guys. Passionate, obviously, about it. Well, I'm from interesting question. So my family, part of my family's from Romania and South Africa, but they moved here, up to Wales. They converged in Wales and England. Or I said England. Right, yeah, United Kingdom, not England. And I was born in Cardiff. But then I moved to around 37 different care homes. And it was like, so when you do that, you end up not being like, is it localised to one accent, regionalised? You don't sound like you come from any particular area. And then I travelled around a lot. I was in Australia for like months on end, to the point where I picked up the accent really fast. So it's fucking blue, man. Look, my dog just chews things to shreds sometimes, right? Only her own tail, a toy or whatever. And she's depressed when she doesn't have any. Bless her. If you buy her really hard for her, she doesn't like it. So, I'm hoping this cup of tea helps really. I always find it very like, I don't really drink coffee, so when I drink tea I feel very like, it's a stigma, isn't it? I find British people drinking tea. I personally don't like hot tea, but I just like having a warm drink in the morning to get going for some reason. You know, they say drinking warm water is good for you or something, and digestion. I would not, that's disgusting, I'm alright. I drink a cup of, like, you know, warm tea or something. Oh. Yeah, of course. Wait, do you skateboard too? Sorry, I didn't see that message. Yeah, man, I do skateboard. I had a lot of injuries, like slip disc in my spine, compound fracture where the bone came out my arm, tore ACLs, tore MCLs. I wanted to be a pro skater when I was growing up, but ended up just messing myself up too much. So yeah, Madeboard's not finished yet. It still needs to have a few more layers to it. Obviously being the, where's my arm bag on? Here we go. And there's a sale up, by the way, as well, 25%. And I do ship to everywhere. So like Australia, Taiwan, America, where literally, so I love when people are like, really? I'm like, it takes a few more hours work, right? I don't know why other companies don't do it. Because you can be so like, granted, you can't deal with it in another country, but I can always call up the shipping people and be like, you know, is it right? You can still get in contact with people, you know what I mean? Like, there's always, if you can't speak in English, like, in their language, there's always a translator, like, person you do. It's worth it if it means you can get your product more, like, you know, out there. Just because I'm trying, like, not in a horrible way to other companies, but I am trying to, like, as a skater, they overcharge. Everything's like ridiculously expensive, right? You can get right now one of my glow in the dark 36mm Canadian maple, right, for £15, where they're normally £45 in a mystery pack. Because the way I do it at my company is being able to always like offer some sort of deal. Mystery packs for me are like my favourite idea. A mystery pack is, I grew up playing like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, not necessarily playing it, but collecting and stuff like that. So when you would like, it was a surprise not knowing what you're going to get. And I can tell you what, I don't want people to worry and think, oh, you know, you're going to get a repeat of the same board over and over again, because I've done over 400 graphics so far, and still more coming out every single week. And so the chances of you getting a repeat are very unlikely. So before, I did have blanks that were in the mystery packs, but I've actually got rid of those because I see that as a graphic repeat. If you see the blank board as a particular graphic, it's blank. But it's, you know, I don't. Say if I make 100 packs and then I do 10 blanks, loads of graphic, and then like I don't know, 10 blanks, or like I don't know, 40 blanks, or you know, anything. And a certain number of graphics and whatever, tally up to 100. Anyone that could potentially just get a repeat of the blank is essentially just getting the same board over and over again. So I thought, you know what, the blanks you can now just buy on their own as 20, or if you want to get the mystery pack, they're 22. And I mean, that's a bargain really. As I said, the mystery pack's 20, and it would come with a board that's 25, like worth 45, sorry, or 42. Or like a minimum is like £35, because a board with a graphic is 35. But the reason I made it cheaper is because you don't know what graphic you're getting. You can't charge people the same price as what the actual thing would be. It's the whole point of a mystery pack. You know, people, but the chances, as I said, you get the same graphic, very unlikely. But as there are sets, if you want to collect them, you might end up going and buying like 4 packs, going, oh, I'm just not getting that set. But getting more collections and one of the kinds of rare ones than you realise, and then building a collection anyway, but then going, oh, you know, I'm just going to go and buy that last one because you know, I've managed to get all of them through mystery packs. Imagine if you manage to find 3 of them through mystery packs. It's like Monopoly, Peel and Play or whatever, the, you know, McDonald's thing. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So you can go there, and also sometimes there will be a thing inside of the mystery packs, which will be, or even packs that'd be like you win a free board, because I would like to do that. So it's like a golden ticket inside a fingerboard as well, and that's not, you don't have to buy a particular pack for that. Yeah, thank you. And I say I've done the mystery packs as well before, wax, and if you found a little turtle inside of the turtle wax, so all you have to do is melt it down if you wanted to, or you could shine a light for it and it would, you know, you would see, if you put it up to a light, you would see the almost look like an exoskeleton, sound like a smaller shape of a turtle inside of it. You would definitely be able to tell, and that means you would win a custom board. And I did do that for 2 customers, but the reason I stopped for a while is because they were just, no offense to them, they know this, it was just very difficult, because one of the code I'm changing is I mine with the graphic, and I didn't set out in paper, like, you know, black and white, can't change after this point, and once you can't add that rule in at a certain point, because I hadn't given that rule. And I was a little bit like all over the place. So bear in mind, it was like, I don't know, 6 months ago. So now I've been in the business for over a year and something, done the website design and things like that. But yeah, so these are the graphics. This one here, and this one is the one that's coming out of the mold today. So they are heat transferred, and they are all designed on my iPad. Also, like, people were asking about my actual product page. So when you're onto the website, you've got this picture that comes up. So this is a fresco. This doesn't use any AI whatsoever at all. This is how I've edited it. I've taken the image I've already got and gone in here with a pen in your own time. So I mean, I don't know if you can see, that is the same colour as obviously the wood that I've been drawing with. So I went over to change colour a bit. So to me, that's not cheating. It used a real photo I already had and adding essentially VCG to it, computer animation, thing like that, and I took it from this, which is absolutely terrible, and completely changed up the background and gave it, let's wind it out a little bit. Oh damn. And I think it just looks a bit more realistic now, and you can make it out clearer and you can see the boards and stuff like that, because before it was like, I don't know, I went on there and it looked a little bit cheap, granted, and I didn't, you know, it's little things you like, I'm editing like all the way through that. And there's also now no, I think bar 1 board that's on there that says out of stock, because before I had a load of that, it wasn't removing the stuff that was out of stock once it had been bought out. I have no idea why. Right, let me put the bottles in this now. So I could use a drill. I do have a drill bit, right, electric, but using this bit by hand guarantees you don't break the mould as well, because even like a mould like this is like £100 just for the mould. And it's, when you think about that realistically, you could buy like a cheap console or something, anything with that. That's why I would say it's very expensive. Because when you start making the boards, people are like saying, oh, I might make some boards. And I've not discouraged anybody doing it, because I always say, look, definitely follow your dreams if it's something you want to do. But the one thing I always tell people to expect, which I didn't expect, which was the actual quality change. And I mean, obviously granted, but I think when you're putting into a mould in your brain, you're probably thinking, like I was, they're going to be the same shape, surely. How can they be any different? How can doing it multiple times make a difference? I know, surely, yeah, you know, sanding it down can make a difference, but the same mould and same wood having a completely different outcome. And if you look how thick that board is compared to these ones are some of the thinnest boards that people have said that they've managed to get. And the thing is, it's not even like thin makes them less durable. These are 2 times durability of a standard fingerboard, and it's because of the wood quality I use. How long I leave it in the mould for? These have been in the mould now for 48 hours, roughly, ish, give or take. Like, I think up to about 42 to 48 hours these have been in the mould for now. And by doing that, you leave it to secure for the full 24 hours. It only needs 24, realistically, in the mould, you know. But as I said to people, like, what do you mould use? You can use any mould realistically, as long as you fully leave it for that allotted time period. Because if you do it any time less than that, don't people know this? Just a little fact for some people. Wood glue expands, right? Bro, why is this not going out? Yeah, so wood glue expands if you leave it to just some wood glues anyway, some polyurethanes, certain glues, they just expand really if you don't leave the pressure down on it in the clamp. So by taking them out the mould, you really do cause it to go thick like this and be terrible shape compared to the ones I do now. So the first 100 boards I made, I was making 4 a day. They were in there for 6 hours a time, and then I was taking them out. And when they first come out of the mould, they were looking really good. And then I wasn't noticing after sanding them down, because I would literally, in the 24, so before, I would literally put the board in the mould, in 6 hours, I'd take it out and sand it down, and within 24 hours, the board would be done. So before the 24 hours was over, I didn't realise it had lost its shape, the wheel arches. And then when I actually, as I say, compare it to a board that I now leave in the mould for 24 hours just to cure alone, before I even start doing anything with it, you get the proper wheel arch shape. You get no expanded wood, no wood glue. But people don't have the patience to leave boards for that long in the mould. I understand it does. It's 24 hours. I mean, they've been in there for 48 now, because it was the day before. Not yesterday. Night before at 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's been a good long time. They've been able to sit there in the mould. So 1 second, making sure. It's sunny today, but also like so windy. Anyway, so yeah, back to what I was saying. So the main thing is, one, the strength, quality of the wood you use, and two, how long you leave it in the mould for. And that's mainly just to get the board to a good shape. But then obviously you've got to sand it down past that point, because it won't just be in this shape with like rounded off edges and smooth and, you know, sprayed down. It is a lot of work. That's why realistically fingerboards do cost a lot, because the amount of time you still got to spend making a board is honestly kind of no different from a skateboard. A skateboard, but more time drawing the graphic, but you have machines that cut the boards out and like stuff like that. And it's just easier, believe me. I've watched the process, obviously making some skateboards now as well myself, where fingerboards are actually a whole lot more difficult, and that's why I understand they're a niche. But also as a skateboarder, they are really good fun. You know, I now do not play sessions. I don't play skate. I don't play Skater XL. I don't play Tony Hawk Skater Pro anymore, because fingerboarding does it all for me when I can't. When I can't skate, yeah, I want to do. You know, if I want to skate but I can't skate, I want to do something that can replicate that sort of feeling similarly. Or like I can watch the flips or get that satisfaction or bat out. And using an analog stick to hit an overcorrect on a rail when a game's made to be semi-easy because people would give up on it. Nothing has the realism of skateboarding and fingerboarding as quite itself, because it is so challenging to a whole other level. But I mean, once you've got that, there's no feeling like, well, there is. I mean, it's like the feeling when you actually succeeded at doing something. That's our point. But these days, everything's quick dopamine rush, quick, you know, satisfaction, quick dopamine here. No extended wait or time period to actually see if you've done something good or get that. Oh, do you know what? Because me, when I put a board in the mould and sand it down to do it and spray it, and then it's finished, and then my final product's like this after days and days of work. Very happy, more happy than any video I could ever watch, more happy than, you know, and it's not even like I need to sell it, I need to make money. I'm just proud that I've actually stuck to the task at hand, you know, because, not that I'm proud, because I know I can do it, but I mean, I feel like the more and more I learn, people every day do struggle with it. I'm like, wow, you know, because I do have ADHD too, and I feel like hopefully people can see that it's not about, like, why can't I work every day and do this, because this, to me, isn't work. Yeah, it is work, obviously, but I mean, it's not mentally like work. I enjoy what I do. So when you enjoy what you do, like they say, when you do what you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life, and it's so true. You know, but I mean, some parts, obviously, because when you're doing paperwork, I don't enjoy that part. But the bits when it's saying that if you do what you enjoy in life, so be it the skating parts, the business parts, where it's like talking about different ideas with people, talk about, like, you know, building a team with people, talk about like locations, from locations to getting locations. Future product ideas, anything like this, designing those future products, business plans, kind of really get me excited. But anything else past that point, you're kind of like, yeah, fair enough. Like, there are parts that are extremely boring, repetitive, you know, risk assessments, safety assessments, things like that. Keeping the books about like buying wood and there's a lot to it. So it's not always fun, but I mean, definitely have more fun than I have at any other job, for sure. Even if I know I'm the boss, it's like, oh, if anything goes wrong, you have to deal with it. That's the only. There's a few negatives. There's some pros and cons. That's it. That's the way to see it. Oh, anyway, morning everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day. Oh man, there's only one person here at the moment, but we keep pushing. I mean, some lives take a little longer than others. When we get like followers from the US over on the live, because they stay up incredible amounts of time waiting for me. I'm like, how? That's dedication. I mean, I would be like, I'm sorry, bro, because of the time differences until you move to the US or something like that. Dude, because I know people like, so people being gut, but at the end of the day, you understand when you have no bounds to keep you in one place, like a country or something like that, you don't mind going on like a giant holiday, so to speak, taking your business, like exploring, meeting people, seeing where the business can take you. It still has its roots here, obviously, but 2 seconds. Oh, I don't even know where I put the pliers at. Shit, man, where's the these right now? They're over there. It's just easier to be able to get these off using these pliers things. Anyway, but what was I saying? I can't remember now. Can't be that important, man. That's what I have to tell myself. To get started, I was like, can't be that important. And the reason I like these ones rather than a press, right? Granted, I'll be honest with you guys, a press, you know, like a big machine that press it, it's so much easier than these because you've got to twist these on the right amount each side. Otherwise, it would be uneven. That's the only issue with these ones, right? But being able to move this around my desk and not need a big hydraulic press on, or not necessarily on some presses you can put on and then you lock into place and then you can turn the system off. But I mean, ideally, clamps, bolts, the best thing really to use in my opinion. I've used a few different types of molds, but it's not the mold, mate, it's the love you put into the board after you take out the mold, right? Or how long it goes into the mold for in the first place, if there's enough time in it at all. I mean, as I said, so many people rush their boards and they wonder why the boards are banned, you know. Most glues take 24 hours to cure. That's just a baseline fact, right? With the seconds. I'm actually really excited for these graphics today, man. As I say, I've always sanding them down. Not yet. It's like 7 in the morning. This is why I can't fingerboard yet either, because it's just too early. Being 7 o'clock in the morning, it's literally so bright outside. It's what really gets to me. It's like, what? How? How is it so bright, yet so early? I know it's coming into the summer again, like. That's crazy. Down there. Because obviously it's going into the, get the graph. I print the graphics in it at this stage after here, because I then have a bigger space to work with, right? So you still need your ID laminator, you still need to modify it, you still need to get a direct-to-film printer. These are all things that are like needed. I have so many people tell me, how do I do it? There is no other way around it. Well, there will be, but not that I'm, you know. But I also added a new method with the layering system for the graphics. So, but unfortunately, you can't give anything away either, because people would just steal your ideas. And that's what you would have all the time. I'm so tired, man. Oh, tea. I know it's so stereotypical of me to be drinking tea right now. I always have coffee. Normally, anyway. What's this, man? Stubborn. They're not necessarily even on that tight. It's just twisting them. I don't know if it's the arthritis or what it is. I just struggle getting like a good grip that level. So I mean, I don't know why some of them, they're all about the same. Oh no. I just realised something bad. I've already tried to go ahead and try and take this out of the mold without putting bolt holes in it first. That would have been a disaster. I mean, you can do it afterwards, but this just guides you to get the perfect, like from the shape of the board it is already, to get the perfect bolt holes. And that's why I actually like these mods, they're brilliant. But as I said, past this point, bro, like, you're on your own. I love how people think the mold just makes the board. I mean, it's not an automatic, you know, machine. You don't cut it out like a cookie cutter. You've got to then sand it down, and the boards at first are like chunky. So if you want to get them down to a nice thin level like this and round it off, as I said, I guarantee these some of the best fingerboards. And the first company in the UK to put fingerboards on skateboards and graphic. I said that the wrong way around, but somehow managed to still say it. What the fuck did I say? I don't even know what I was trying to say. I'm the first company in the UK to put my own graphics onto skateboards and fingerboards. That's what I was trying to say. I said somehow put my own skateboards onto fingerboards and graphics. That doesn't make any sense. That's like, I'm not as think as you drunk I am, but that's my brain all the time. So my day's been, well, it's actually 7 o'clock in the morning at the moment, bro, so we've only just been starting out, but it's been good. How's yours? Trying to get these bolt holes in and then put the print the graphics on. So I actually have my own skateboard and fingerboard company. I originally was just going to make a skateboard company with wax. I've made a new type of wheel which glows in the dark, and is also like weather resistant and also screechy. I've got, I don't know if you can see it up there. No, it's not on camera. But we've got. Well, I've done everything here from like, I don't even know. The list goes on. Tops, beanies, jumpers, skateboards, the graphics, just the bloody packaging as well. I mean, I do everything here because, to me, I am. Well, I done a business class about 2 years, well, a year ago. It's a year and a half ago, right? Ish. I can't even remember. It's like end of 2024, and it was almost like the only way I can describe it. It was like, you know, is that Alan Sugar? I don't know what this thing's called. Dragon's Den. But on a computer, it had to be on Zoom calls because there was about 50 people each time. And sorry, 1 second, I'll read the chat in a sec. And I got the certificate so I can show people. But I won out of so you had a public vote of who was the winner. So you'd all sit there. We'd all sit there and watch people on Zoom. Went on for hours. You imagine there's 50 people at the beginning. I think it was like 40 in the end, but still I took through 40 people's ideas But it's nice. I did like it because it was like really nice to see what other people, kind of get to. I'm not a people watcher. Anyway, I'm getting off topic now. But they voted for me to win. Bear in mind, there's people who already had their own shops established and stuff like that. But they just loved my injuries and being a skater, but sticking with skating. I've had like life-changing injuries from skating. I had slip disc in my spine, torn ACLs and MCLs, ripped meniscus, compound fracture where the bone came out my arm. Could go on Shark Tank. That's funny, man, because I'd say Shark Tank is very much like Dragon's Den in a way. Obviously, it wasn't the same level, but these people who made this thingy, it's called Strive. That's it, because strive for your best. They made a company because they're like self-made millionaires who, I guess, truthfully, I think Belle, who was my business coach, she was like, I'm just bored. She's had kids, everything, and that's kind of like savage to say. I know that, but at least she's trying to do things to help people, even when they have done so much. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is literally my business. I know it sounds crazy to people at first, but I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into it, from website design, graphic design, working with different companies, which now I've cut off because I realise they're all a lot of them so far anyway, been very corporately greedy, which I'm against as a skater. So these are some of my most recent graphics. Just this one on the side here, nowhere near finished, but it's one that's in the making. But that graphic's coming out today, that graphic's coming today. So the business is actually going, I don't know how, in a year, I've made over 40 customers, which to me is crazy considering it's a very neat, one, it's niche, and two, people have their established companies already. You know what I mean? People, I thought you said hundreds. I have had like hundreds of, because there are people who come back and bought waxes, bought repeat, like not repeats, but obviously bought mystery packs, bought different boards, because you've got returning customers. But there's been about, I think, like 30 individual different customers, 30 to 40 different customers. I can't remember exactly. I appreciate it, I really do, guys. But when I started off, I made this, which is skate wax. because this is just to show people I weren't trying to cash in or anything as a skater. I just had these ideas for making long-lasting skate wax, which I've made now. I'll show you what it does. You apply it one time, especially onto a brick obstacle like this, and you don't need to apply it again. That's it. You know, it generally does. It's so buttery, and it acts like the way it bonds to stuff. So don't just add it to anything. If you've got parents or you live with your parents or something like that, you probably piss them off. I could do, bro. Do you want to depict? Wait, do you want to depict this on a skateboard? I'm confused what you mean. Do you mean depict? Because to be honest, do you mean? I'm very baffled right now. When you say depict, do you mean like this moment? Because it's interesting. I've done moments where I've fallen off my skateboard, and I've sketched them. So there's moments where I'm sprayed eagle on my back because where the camera's obviously caught me. It's just been funny. I thought snapshot, and they were funny videos as well. I thought, you know what? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so the wax I made, which was full size for skateboarding, was the same wax I ended up designing, obviously for the fingerboards. But where did I put it? Here we go. Also, I've got a multi-pack of wax now. It's just gone down in price because I realised it was £1 more than it needed to be. So this is now for the fingerboards, which uses the same formula, right? Uses the same formula. So what happened was when I started making fingerboards, I wasn't going to make them for anybody. My partner's grand got me a tech deck, and I have skated as long as I can remember. And then there was one day my phone just decided to show me a video of someone doing an actual kickflip. I can't do it right now because I'm not at a warm up. It's a bit early too, but a kickflip to back tail, right? Or just a tail. I don't even know the back or front side tail. I don't know. But my point is, and I was like, no way. And I watched it again. So I was like, did he not just hold it underneath? When I realised he actually popped it and scooped it with his finger, I was like, that's it. What? I'm hooked. You had me at pop and scoop, right? I ran into the bedroom. I'm trying to land this trick. My partner comes in like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I didn't realise you could actually do tricks on these. And she was like, well, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? If you could flip a skateboard, can you flip a fingerboard? I'm like, yeah, but you understand, I never thought about it, right? I never crossed my mind. So I was like, okay, that's it. I've got to land this. And then, you know, a year on, well, actually, I'll cut to a little bit first. My mate said, oh, so he saw I was making fingerboards. He was like, my kid loved those. Can you make him some? And then he said this about a few months later. He was like, still got them, they're incredible. He said, you really should make those as well. How do you get the graphic on it? And I said, oh, secret. And then kind of just gave me that little nudge, really, I guess, to make me realise, well, what's the difference between... I know there's a massive difference between fingerboard and skateboarding, but I mean, at the same time, they both use wood. They're the same shape. They're just one smaller than the other. And if you're a skateboarder, fingerboarding is a perfect little fidget toy. You know what I mean? 100%. Can't go wrong with it. The business is called Skate Addiction. So Skate Addiction Fingerboards is actually... So Skate Addiction is the parent company to Skate Addiction Fingerboards. And Skate Addiction Fingerboards and Skate Addiction, pretty much the same logo. I use this beanie actually. So 1 second. It's the same logo, just without the fingerboards written underneath it. And it's actually my own font as well. So now I've gone into so much detail. I went and done my own font, my own packaging. It's not a font that exists. It's not a font that exists. It's graffiti style font. Because when I grew up, I used to do graffiti. It's what made me really get into my art and doing, like, you know, tagging up areas and stuff like that. So I think really, so I'm from everywhere. My family moved from Romania. Well, part of my family's from Romania, part of them from South Africa, and they come to the UK. And yeah, so I was born in Wales. But that feels like that's going weirdly wrong. Oh well. But yeah, it's just been about, like, and I come on here now because I see this, especially when I was talking about it yesterday, about this manosphere thing. It's so dumb with, like, HS TikTok and all these people, right? I'm sorry. The world is, like, I mean, it is a bad enough place and toxic enough for, like, people coming in there and being like that. Male masculinity toxic crap, man. It really is. Like, I don't understand it. I'm in a real loving relationship, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, people, like, you know, oh, they do this to you and they leave you. No, if you're a dick, I want to spiral into this again, but I just always agree, like, if you're a dick, right? And so someone just doesn't like that. So it's nothing to do with gender. If you're a nasty person, you're a nasty person, right? I can't stand this male, you know. masculinity toxic crap, because the whole thing is so made me laugh. It's the most contradictory shit about it. They don't like women, yet they make money off of women. They don't like care about women's opinion, but yet they'll only get a car that a woman knows because they want to show off. That's literally doing me. I fingerboard. Do you think that's in trying to impress anybody? Like, bro, mate, people come in, but bro's getting all the girls. I don't need to have a girlfriend for one. Have a minute, been with her 4 or 5 years, got my own business. I'm happy. But that is that mindset that people have. It's honestly so funny. Do you know how I'm taking this shit? Yeah. Do you know what? Facts. People literally can't dish. It's like dishing out snowflakes. They can say stuff. But I watched that Manosphere thing with Louis Freeh yesterday on Netflix. And with like the HST, he talking to all these people. What knobheads, man. What absolute knobheads. I'm sorry, but they are. I'm not even sorry. I'm not even sorry at all. The fact they think that is what makes a man. There's nothing to do with being making a man. It's making a decent person. Because we should always be people right at the end of the day. I find it too funny. I can just check my dog one more time. I thought doing something to impress someone else, but then saying you don't care about other people's opinion. Can they not see that contradiction? Like, at all? Me? I really stand by that message. I don't care what people think. And then I continue to fingerboard and do things that people consider childish. So what? I'll be a fun dad. You know what I mean? I'll be young, fun dad. I'm not going to be sat there like, oh, I don't care about my self-image and and as long as my kids have money. But I grew up poor. I grew up in a care home where they got paid to have a lot to have me. And I tell you what, neither was a great environment. One, they were just out of it and they didn't care. And the other one, they just cared about money. Neither... Obviously, yes, one with abuse was worse, but it's taking notes here, really. No, it's like, the point is, you can't just, that's like saying, well, what would you rather have, no arms or no legs? Can I have both? Like, it's offering two shit scenarios when realistically there's a much better way. And I didn't really just continue talking about it, but I will do sometime when I'm actually shocked at how much it's evolving, this manosphere crap, right? Because of the documentary I watched and 2 videos I watched yesterday from the same person in a few days about it, and he's laughing like I am. He's just like, bro, the most contradictory shit ever. It's so stupid. And the thing is, if it also wasn't for the women they pimp out, right, who they have no respect for, they wouldn't have half as many followers or money, and they would just be gimps. Do you think people follow you? Oh my days. So I just hate hurts my brain because not because I mean live you right and they do, but at the end of the day, it's like, how can people be so moronic? It worries me. That's who we have living on the planet. I'm like, it's like if common sense can't run that deep, then we're doomed, right? To a certain aspect. Where am I from? Oh, wait, am I? 100% right. It's 100% agree with that. I mean, I think just being a decent person, you know, especially being that like having that role of chivalry, as they call it, which I feel like we've lost now. I mean, damn right, it's still there. There are a lot of guys like me, and I find it funny because I said to my partner, I said, "You don't understand that. We're watching that Louis Freeh thing. They hate Jews. They don't like flipping men who will stick up for women because they want all men." I'm like, bro, I'm like crushed into this tiny little box. You know, women like, we don't want your help, straight white man. You know, get away from us. And then also got the males going, you know, you pansy, you're on that side. I'm like, bro, I'm on no one's side. Stop bickering. Spark one up and chill out, right? Damn it. I'm on no one's side. If there's an injustice and I see injustice, I will stand against injustice. And that's what any human being should do. And that's why you're saying that you should aid, you should stand in. That's a decent human being. It shouldn't even have to be a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. But the fact that it's shit to watch, really is. And I mean, it's got to be horrible for women too, but just please understand, like, I'm not trying to say, like, yeah, I've got your fight, we got your back. I'm not saying women haven't got, you know, their own, they've had it, the whole, you know what I mean? But there's definitely people like me who don't agree with that whole, and what side am I meant to be on? If I don't agree with that side, I'm not, I would stand on no sides, I'm not on any side. But when there's a point to be made or an argument to be had, of course I'll make a point from the guys, because people seem to listen to the guy if they're a guy. Or they get annoyed with me, and it's funny because then they try and like, they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy's got a business, he's doing really well. And then I'll say this, and then they'll be like, oh, I bet you're a pansy anyway. And they get mad, they try and throw insult because they're insecure. Where I'm like, bro, I don't even need to throw shit. I'm like, I mock myself, I laugh at myself. And that, you know, being vulnerable and insecure is actually a biggest strength showing it in a world where they say it's a weakness, believe me. Because people are really shocked when they turn around and think I'm weak and then mentally and physically really strong, and they're like, holy shit. Because I'm like, it doesn't need to be some front. Like, people see how much I can lift at the gym, people see how much I mentally take on board with like PTSD. It's not a front, but it's also just people. And these guys are, oh, I was hit as a kid. I said, so Savage, I was hit very bad. They were like, I got hit once. I was like, was it hard enough? I'm sorry, but what changed? Why have you been hit one time and you're like a nasty piece of shit, and I got hit multiple times, and I'm like, okay, that's not very nice. You know, maybe it should have been a bit harder. Stop whining about it if that's going to be your reason for being a knob in life, right? Oh, this happened. Oh, that happened. Women go through assaults every day, right? And they still expected to just brush it off. So I mean by men really do not understand. They dish out and I just really. That's why I'm just so alone. I'm not alone, I'm doing what I am. I choose to be alone because people are knobheads. And I say it openly. You know, there's only a few select guys who actually have like that chivalry still. I mean, there's a lot of people, don't get me wrong, don't panic. There's a lot of people, but I mean, that I know of or know around. And it's probably because it's internet crap. I feel like when you have a platform, you on here I have a K, on the other one I have like 3-4K. It's not the most, but it grows. One person can make a difference, clearly. You know, not bed ticky-tocky and all these people. Open head is a good example. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, Steve Irwin for like wildlife as well, like putting yourself. I've always said that if an animal was to bite me or give me like, I don't know, I needed stitches on my face, I was unrecognisable. Never been mad at a dog. You know, it's the wild animal essentially you've domesticated, you've put in your home, expecting it to live to your standards of socialness. You know, it's not a human being, it doesn't have the same brain, so to treat it as the same is wrong. I mean, to treat it like family, yes, I don't mean that people take that the wrong way around, but it's like people take one extreme and make it twisted and saying, I was like, some things Andrew Tate are right the same. Women want a protective guy. A lot of women do. Yeah, of course they do in that relationship. They want to feel safe. But how does that go to women beating? I'm sorry, I don't. That's like, it's almost like, it's the, how? It's like the stupid ideologies of like anti-Semitism and everything in the first place. They don't have any logics to the point they don't know what they're bloody talking about, right? Or is it what's that other one? Is it Queers for Palestine? I'm sorry, do they understand? Do they understand that the ideology? Clearly not. Clearly not. Right? Oh, bro, my brain hurts. People need to just do a little research, man. That's it. Don't believe everything the internet tells you. Believe some of it. Don't just think, oh, okay, it's all a lie. Right? I think they've taken that to a whole extreme. Because I tell you what, do you know what I mean? It makes sense. People are like, I don't believe everything read on the internet. Although somebody like, I was watching a video this morning and he was like, sorry, it's just in my, obviously it's going to be in my algorithm because it's all I watch, because it's just like stupidity to the highest to the highest level. It's funny, right? Because I've been telling the world, and when everything does, I don't know, let's just say something might go wrong or go south. But it is one of those brilliant I told you so moments, but I feel like there just won't be time for it. But I don't know, people really and not even people that come here and try and do that, just the whole stupidity of the human race. Not everybody, granted, there are some smart people. I just hope someone sees me with a business, driven and like dedicated. You know, yeah, it's the first year of my business. Oh wow, I could go into stock shares into Bitcoin. I know all about that, but like a lot of that money is through corrupt trafficking organisations and just, you know, essentially black money, blood money. Just where do you think you get billions from in stock shares of what? A piece of metal in a foreign country that's just sat in a field. And it's like, oh, we're buying this piece of land. Like, it doesn't make sense, guys. Do the common thinking, right? Also, for example, always make jokes like, oh yeah, your OnlyFans would be so much easier. Oh, it would be so much easier to do. You know, everyone makes that joke. I think loads of people might make the joke, right? Where it's they're working up, it's about having self-respect as well. Now, I'm not dissing anybody that does whatever they do. You know, you go out there, you get, that's your, you know, that's your life. I can't sit there and say anything because I am a very big believer. You do what you want to do at the end of the day, as long as you're not harming anybody. The one thing I want people to do is like learn some self-respect, because one, people, the things I'm seeing, injustice, women starting to not respect themselves, right? So men not respecting women. I'm not saying that is a reason for it, because that's not a good reason. Just because someone doesn't respect themselves doesn't mean you should then join in and not, you know, because it's not everybody either. It's just some people who have a bit of a lower self-respect, but or what we would consider low respect to them, it might not even be respect. Like, you know, they don't even know what self-respect is. So that's what I mean. We're all so different. It's so the world is too complex, really, in a way for that. But I've always said, as long as you're not harming somebody, that's it. It's all that matters. It is, and I don't want to sit there and say, "Oh, it's women's fault. It's men's fault." I mean, just look at everybody. Take a step back and go, "What am I doing to make exacerbate? Oh my days! You know, exacerbate the issue to make it worse. Exacerbate. That's the word. Not I've got it wrong again. You know, just to make it worse, just to give it more of a you know, what would you say, fuel to the fire. Wait. Yeah, do you know, I agree with that. That's fair. You shouldn't have to, I mean, settle in life for a guy that's going to be like this. It's what women do as well. It's like, I mean, oh. If someone was like, oh yeah, like these men that's like, yeah, I'll sleep with multiple women. And he's like, you can't. She's like, no, it's fine. I love you. Like, where was your self-respect gone, right? So it's funny, we were watching that thing yesterday, and he was like, oh, she don't sleep with other men. And he's like, I'll sleep with other women. I was like, mate, she's definitely sleeping with your mates. And I'm laughing about it, because I'm like, you kind of serves you right at that point, because you got such a grandeur in your head, delusions of grandeur, and like, you know what I mean? Thinking you're the shit, thinking you're the dogs, you know. And then, you know, one question from, like the guy said himself, a skinny white guy from the UK, Louis Theroux, and an old man, and you just put on your ass, and then you got to result to lashing out in anger, because that's like where they say swearing in vocabulary means you don't have a very good vocabulary. It's a similar thing when you can't, you know, a man should be able to deal with the anger. We have a lot of testosterone, but it's how you deal with the impulses and the rage. And believe me, it is, because I'm a sociopath, and you don't think I don't get crazy inner rage where I just want to like rip everything apart. I do. But that's why I'm like, there is no excuse for it. None. We're all different, but if you don't even have that and you're just a normal ass guy, like, what is your... It's probably because a lot of them are like mummy's boys as well, and they were never taught how to deal with things on their own. You know what I mean? Like, literally, mentally, they always had money or something to deal with it. Not realising that is inherently in itself a weakness. So not being able to deal with something on your own is a weakness. Sorry, but it is. And we're all weak. That's the truth. Like, some days we'll have things where we feel like we want to call. Oh, sometimes I hate feeling like I'm the only adult, because, you know, oh yeah, I've got adoptive parents who are 60, but they'll even turn around to me and be like, you know more than us now through some of your life experiences. Obviously, just experiences, not an age. There's a massive difference. So that's a scary realization when you realise, you know more than the people you thought knew more, I think. But I'm at that point, great. I must have it screwed on the right mindset. And I grew up in what feels like a completely different time period, and I really miss it. I mean, now there's a study done at a school recently. I don't think it was in the UK, I don't know where, but it was like, when something's considered consent in a relationship, the results were disgusting, were absolutely disgusting, and they were coming from kids. I'm like, but that's brainwashing, so just make... And the thing is, if I really just wanted all control, then I'd be like, well, I'm behind this movement. But I think it's so, as I said, grandeur, it's just complete delusional. I'll give any argument or debate. If anybody wants to debate or argument with me, any alpha males
in the vicinity. And I'll literally go toe to toe in the round as you as well, because I don't even care, because I know people look at me and think, there's no way you can fight, surely. Bro, I'm going to post a video of me hit, like, this punch bag that I'm going in, obviously one of the big ass heavy ones. I'm not even wearing wraps or anything like that. This thing is rocking the wall and my phone. And it's purely just because of, one, how you punch. I grew up with brothers being punched all the time in the gut. I had a broken rib when I was a kid from my brother. I mean, you just learn to fight. And when people fight, you see them like, they throw punches. They don't use their whole body and their shoulder to like actually, you're meant to use your whole body weight. You don't aim for a person, you aim past a person. Because if you stop at a person, that is the stopping point. Past a person is breaking point. I'm not trying to condone that, I'm just saying, I love how people, we need to really get it right. Judging a book by its cover. So it's a bit like the end of that documentary, like people watch it into the credits. But Louis Fruit, he went to throw a punch at his punching bag, and they all laughed at him. He was like, he missed it, I think, or something like that. And that is, I'm like, that guy's got old man strength. Like they don't even understand about old man strength is a real thing. It is a real thing. And I said, they're laughing out, and at the end, I was like, I didn't know he was gonna come back and do it, but I was like, I'm happy he did, because I'm like, I felt like it would have been embarrassment, or it's just because there was people there, and you know, you asked to throw a punch, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, and you're thrown off. You're not in your thing, but once they mocked him and he comes back, he actually punched the punch bag. He's doing it on the video, you can see him recording it. And he literally beats high score. And it's at one of those villa beach, you know, when you go to like a seaside, my brain. So say you went to like a seaside resort more. Say it's a resort, it's like, no, it's more of like a holiday destination. I don't know, like Benidorm or something like that. But yeah, he punched one of his punch bags and he beat the high score. You can imagine how many big dickheads have gone out drinking and, you know, hit that thing. That's impressive, and that's old man strength. And that's what I mean, people don't understand. But it's nothing to do. And then all of them look red and swollen, and they've taken steroids, and I'm like, oh, you think that's the ideal? It just makes me laugh. Because I'm like, the fact that I can lift more, that people really know I can lift more than a guy that was bigger than me at the gym, is like, well, how does that make sense? Because people have this belief, the bigger you are, the stronger you are. That is so not true. Steroids make you swollen. They make your muscles like irritated and swollen and almost just full of toxins and crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not natural. It's not healthy. They don't breathe properly. You don't get the blood flow through it properly. That's why you all look, they look ill. You know what I mean? I'm just, people really think, like, you've got the Liver King, all these liquid people that definitely use steroids. I mean, go back, all you have to do is Google. So I keep checking on the dog. If you Google 1930s athletes, their body shapes were the maximum of like the small guy now at the gym. You know, anything excess like this is just not, it's not real. It is not. People are like, oh, but it is. You just eat proteins. No, it's not. It is not real. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger said, you think you can just get this from like it is strict diets, probably in excess. You can only consume a certain amount of protein, body won't do the rest. So the whole thing is that you just need to eat more of this and more of that. Well, no, because if we eat the max anyway, you've eaten the max, there's nothing you can do. If anything, your body's just going to reject it then, and it can make your kidneys want to shut down, and that's from food. So, and my point is as well, being small is quite good because I'm very quick and agile, so I can just duck in between somebody's legs really fast and just, yeah, uppercut. And I mean, I've played day. I think, so what? You don't sit there and say to a lion, right, don't bite now, just swipe paws with the left hand. Like, no, if someone, yeah, I'll try it normally. If someone goes in savage, I go savage. It's just what you do. It's like, you know, the more savage a beast gets, the more savage the beast attack. Precisely. And it's actually good to see women with that self-respect like that. Do not, that money, that is the call of the devil in my opinion. Because look how much money people can make from that sort of industry. It is a trap. It's 100% a trap. And I'm not disowning, some people need to go get their bag and get their money or something like that. But I just feel like there's never true happiness. You've got a kid that grows up and their friends see it at school and goes, "Hey, is this your mum?" How embarrassing is that? You've just ruined that kid's childhood. Like, for life, is scarred. That poor kid, before he's even born, like, oh. Fair enough, if you know you're never going to have kids, right? And, I mean, you've got to think, sometimes in life, it's like if you're going to be an addict, an alcoholic, you can't do it. You've got kids to think about, right? Can't just, if you have kids' age, you've got kids, you can't then just do the same with that. Be like, oh, it's exactly because it's the earliest profession. I'm sorry. So is being a drug dealer. You know, somebody finding a herb and selling it to somebody for a pebble or a stone. Who bloody knows what they used to sell it for? My point is, it is an old profession too. Getting something, selling it to somebody. I'm not saying dealer, just a dealer or anything. Yeah, that's illegal. So I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying, just because something's, that's so funny. I mean, concentration camps were a thing. They were allowed in these countries. I mean, they were built, the infrastructure, but they're definitely wrong. There's no argument about that. Smoking was less frowned upon. You know, the doctor used to recommend a pack of 20 blue Benson Hedges a day. Or not a day, maybe, I don't know. Or he recommend this one. Or they used to recommend the blue filter tip, which actually had asbestos or arsenic or whatever the flip. Well, it's got arsenic in it still, so yeah, asbestos in it. Bro, the list goes back far. I know too much history, to be honest with you. Pointless, but fun history. Google the corner, right? That is literally the lie told to make medical broccoli illegal, to make, it was literally to say Mexican men and anybody coming into the country at the time was going to impregnate their wives, right? And it would make them want to be impregnated by them. The paranoia levels that ran deep, bro, deep. It's honestly quite funny to see it. I'm like, bro, you're paranoid without even hitting the broccoli. I would not smoke it if I was you, because, you know what I mean? Have people seen Pineapple Express, and the guy's like, when he's smoking it, and he's just like, you're my mouth, wah, wah. He's doing all these things, and he's like, he just says exterminate, but he's like, item 9, illegal, right? And I always thought that was a perfect example. It's like somebody started clowning around, having a good time, life was good, wanted to eat one too many Pop-Tarts, let's say for the Americans, whatever, you know, that's it. He's too happy, you know, and he's too clear of mind. Like alcohol, falling all over the place, brilliant. Docile, stupid little animals. Here you go. That is how I see it. I mean, they've even said it. It even says it in the Epstein files, right? It says there's one particular part that says alcohol. We should keep the laws around alcohol and something like that, because alcohol makes people stupid and docile, while medical broccoli opens the mind up. And I'm like, it's quite funny that it says it opens the mind up, because I always say it makes you dopey and stupid. Well, Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, Stephen King, all these great minds were medical broccoli users. It's just a bit of it's a bit interesting, isn't it? It's like they push a narrative. It's like tattoos. People with tattoos are nasty people, criminals. I don't speak very well for that case because I have been a criminal, granted. But there are people who are perfectly lovely people who have never, ever, ever committed a crime in their life. I mean, I feel like, is there anyone that's never committed a crime? Surely you've committed a crime, just not even realising it was like a law break. I swear the law is that can't wear trousers on a Tuesday or something in the country. It's just not been abolished. So technically, you probably have. I feel like everyone's speeded a little bit, maybe by mistake or something like that. I don't understand why you make a car that has a speed that can go 120 when the limit is always this. Like, fair enough, cap it at like 80 or like, does it even need to go faster than that ever? If a limit is a limit, that's also like population control in my opinion, because it's like letting people know they're going to push the limits, so they will. You know, the war on substances, another, you know, way to control people, chuck them in jail. Oh, we care about public safety and health. Of course you do. I mean, it's so obvious. Thank you. Thank you so much for caring about us. Sorry, I'm shit sarcasm, but I just find it quite funny. Idiots, man. Idiots. LARPing. What is that? Sorry, my bad. I don't... Sounds like an interesting word. Oh, I actually can't wait to get these boards on the shop today, guys. So these are going to be the... Can you make Dubai chocolate? To be honest with you, can you make Dubai chocolate if you're not in Dubai? People go, oh, well, yeah. I'm like, well, can you though? Because it's like Cornish pasties can only be called Cornish pasties if they're made in Cornwall. So I'm like, do I just make... I don't even know. Or is it Dubai chocolate because of the particular... Is that what they've done? I have no idea. I know it's expensive. Sorry, I mean, it's quite funny. They call mukbangs, right? I couldn't do that. No matter if someone offered me loads of money, they could do it. I'm just not gonna like pop that like it's food's running all down my mouth. Like I don't know. I have a slight bit of self-respect, slight, maybe not much, but slight, and that's enough for me to not want to eat an egg that pops all down my face on the live and look like a complete moron. I'm not saying that's what you want me to do, but I mean, it's just weird. My partner likes watching them too, and I'm like, that is so uncomfortable because if someone was sitting there eating like that, you'd be like, that is disgusting. Eat with your mouth full. Stop making all that crappy noise, right? And just eat properly. But like, yet people want to watch it on a video because it's satisfying. That doesn't make sense. Because I mean, if I was to scrape paint off a wall, or like videos with the sand or something, they're satisfying, so they're satisfying in person. Why is something like the most unsatisfying things on slurping up a bowl of spaghetti like an AI flipping Will Smith actually satisfying? It puts me off. Like they've got food all down their chin. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Actually it does make me kind of gag a little bit, to be honest. I'm like, that is just revolting. And it's like, oh, I'm going to cop out on material. I have no idea what to do, so I'm just going to do what the human needs to do, which is eat. Right? Effective content, I suppose, because I mean, most people do eat. Yes, correct. Well done. So I like to be a bit ironic and take the piss and sarcastic. I don't know. I just find it like I like as well when they sit there and they're eating their dinner and stuff, and I'm like, do you not have a family? Do you not have a life? I mean, I'll be sat there like, get off your flipping phone and like talk to me. That's why I'm only live when my partner goes to work, because it's a perfect time. I'm not alone. I do, it's just time to waffle on. This one's back, we've done another day. Sorry, I'm halfway between some tasks you're obviously doing. I've been being an adult, am I right? Super fun. Being an adult is just the joys of being an adult, bro. I mean, why shit do I wish this shit to come on so fast? Do you know what I mean? Do you know when you're like younger and you're like, I can't wait something. I can remember when I was like, oh, 2030 is so long away, and I'm like, slow down. I need to install some brakes. It goes too quick, man. It's like I was like, in 10 years' time, this is not a depressing thing. It's beautiful in a way, age. But in 10 years' time, I will be 35 years old. That is crazy. That is crazy. And I always love it when you're always younger to somebody else. They're like, you're still young. I mean, you see Doreen talking to Maureen, that's just an example, right? Two old loves, dears talking to each other, going, oh, you know, and then she's like, you're still young, look at you. It's all comparison, isn't it? It's all, it doesn't matter. Like, we're all young, we're all old. To dig someone else. Do you know what I mean? Someone else would be like, all right, unks, like grandpa, because like they're like a kid and they think they're funny. But like in my head, it's like, I feel like, I don't know, only a few years ago I was in that state, like my place myself. It's so weird. But it's so cool to be in that position when you're older at the same time. Who likes being younger, really? Not me. I didn't like being looked down upon by everybody in society. It's not maybe looked down, but it's like, you know. But then also, remember when you're an adult, you've got to act right. If you don't act right, people are like, bro, what are you doing? You've got years to get it right now, and there's no leeway. Especially when you're a bit of a fruit loop like me. I mean, when they chucked me in jail finally, at one point, when I was on my worst behaviour, the worst part of my life, it was funny because I just turned around, I was just like, they said to me in court, Josh, I'm afraid we have to put you in custody and remind you of this one because we can't anymore. You just, every week, you're coming in here to court every week, you know, and I do get it at that point. And then now I'm older, I'm like, I kind of wish they invoked it a little earlier because it's a wake-up call some people need. I don't think penitentiary, like being sentenced, always helps people. I think sometimes, if anything, it just enhances an issue because of what the criminal system's like. It's evil in there. You've got the worst of the worst in jail, right? And you hear horrible things and you see horrible things, and you actually see people get shivved and stuff. I don't know where to say it. It's just a really nasty place, really. And you wonder where all the nasty big criminals are, and you like see it in movies, like, where are they? That's because they're all in jail. None of them are out here. No, you know. But anyway, so Oh shit, my brain again. Oh, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It really, really can't have been important. I like to tell myself that because if you forget something and you've got BPD like me, you get really annoyed about it. And it's best just to be like, it doesn't matter. You know, come back, maybe. So I'm looking for something. Filters. I'll just drop everything instead. Yeah, do you know what? I feel that. I mean, obviously I'm not 32, but I do. Realistically, I mean, you'll know what I mean. Like 5 years goes so fast. So before I know it, I'll be 30. Before I know it, it will literally, it's a blink of an eye, and it really is. I mean, obviously now, people do that thing when they're blinking, they're like, oh no. I'm like, no, bro, it's always in the moment. It feels long. You look back and it's like, where's the time gone? It's almost one of the worst timing things I don't like about humans. I think it's how we have to compress our memories, because if it did feel so long, our brains would not be able to like store all of it. Like every millisecond is almost compressed file in our head, so it feels like a shorter time window when you look back at it, because it needs to. Does that make sense? I think that personally makes sense. But yeah, I think it's so weird because I felt like I was 17 a few years ago, and then 25. What's that like? A few years off of being 10 years off of 17. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But it blows my mind. Like to think when I was 16, I'm like, wow, it's 9 years ago. Well, actually, no, Tecmo. No. You know what I mean? It just blows my mind a bit. But yeah. Precisely. That's it. You've got to live your life to the fullest, because like memories. Why else would we have memories? Why else would we, I mean, I know that sounds dumb, but hear me out for a second. So why else would we have learning patterns and things like this? Right. One, to survive. But clearly, when you're in a world that's already built, so I mean, yeah, it's kind of reverting a bit, but to survive, like people have done all the building. So more could be done, but technically, society almost hit a point of peakness. Seems to be reverting again. Try and have equal rights as best we can. Obviously, everyone understands we can't everywhere. We should be able to, but people don't accept that. So just try. I mean, I personally think there's a place that doesn't want equal rights. All the people just get out. I think we should do like a release thing, and then just put all the people who don't want equal rights into a country, and all the people that do want equal rights somewhere else. It's like a relocation. It'd work brilliantly. Right. Anyway, yeah, just put them all in there. Everyone's got their own space. If you want to be with people, you've got this place. You got one. You don't want to be with anyone. You be on your own. Cool. You got this space. It would work out. But anyway, before I go for a cigarette, I'll quickly say, civil society almost pretty much built itself. As I said, it's reverting now. So if you imagine yourself at its point, what do you do when society's built itself? That is what we've been getting to a point for it. Rome didn't build itself in a day. It's a perfect saying. Like all these things were built for the future generations to live a life of, well, civilized life. But once you live in a civilized life, what do you do? We've been developed, we've been evolving for hundreds of years, thousands of years to build infrastructure and architecture and innovate and change. So to sit there and do nothing is why our brains probably go a bit crazy with mental health issues, because it's too powerful to just sit around watching something. You need to use that brain. So you're one of the most powerful brains on the planet, and people just, it's like a gift from God, and you're just brushing off. So that's what I'm saying. Like and there's a long point to get to, but that's what I mean. When everything's already meant to be civilized, air quotations, but and we're not really building stuff anymore. Life, I could see, could get very boring, because that's why inherently I like to make stuff. I like to invent stuff, because it is in all of us. There are some people that have it more than others. It is, when they said a cat, like, could be a house cat, never hunted a bird before, but it has this weird instinct to pounce and prey and for birds. What taught it that? Nothing. It's literally ancestry wired into us. Nothing tells us. It's just there. You know what I mean? I think that's. They try and act like humans are any different. We're not. Like, my ancestors were incredible builders. They were builders. They were survivors. They were people that crossed like deserts for whole generations, right? And I'm not trying to say, I'm not like, okay, the whole thing, don't agree with Zionism. I don't think Zionism, I don't think there's a superior person. I think we are all on a level. I think we all have, just because you all say what your ancestry is, you could still push against that. Like, some ancestors could have been hunter-gatherers, some could have been creators, some could have been anything. That doesn't mean you are destined to be that way. And the best way to prove that is, I mean, you could be a white family predominantly for many generations, you have an interracial couple, boom, that's not white family anymore. Things change, like, so easily. And people need to remember that, like, just from one generational loop change, it's like, yeah, it's amazing. So to sit there and think that, oh, it's so wide to be like this, like, no, it is there, but it's not. It's foundation. It's not 100% you. Otherwise, I would have been an asshole because of my family. Anyway, let me have my tea, go have a cigarette. I'll come back. I'll try and think of a ball. If not, I'm going to sand these boards down. I'm well excited to get these onto the shop today because these graphics are awesome. So obviously I print them onto stage here. I'm going to go do it in a minute, but I have to, don't do it on a live. I redact it because I have too many people trying to steal my ideas. It's sad, I have more people trying to steal my ideas than actually trying to even join the company. It's people that come through like, how do you do that? And then they leave. The amount of people. Probably more times than I've got followers, I reckon. But that kind of shows you one thing. People see it as a bit of a threat, maybe, as a business, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be like that. I'm trying to work harmoniously with all these people, but... Wait, I would like to make these. Yeah, that would be pretty sick, to be fair. Should join your army. See, I'm actually not allowed to, because I've got complex PTSD. My foster dad at one point made it very clear to me, I could just be in the barracks and just go completely crazy. I mean, I am the sort of person who would need to be court-martialed. That is the truth, because where I already have PTSD, I'm likely to... If someone said, right, I want you to go into that, town, I think it's our duty to learn history, right? We learn from history. And after seeing, I was trying to say, like, roughly, trigger warning here-ish, but it shouldn't be anybody who's majorly affected by it, but still, it's still majorly effective. Effective in the sense of not majorly effective in a good way, like it affects people still. But the melee, or melee, however you want to say it, I can't use the last word, I don't monetize. It's not even about monetization because I'm not trying to get paid here. It is purely just out of respect. I do not want to get flagged up for trying to be offensive. But that was committed, an atrocity committed by American troops. They're committed all over. Brits have done it. Not that exact thing. I mean, it's why I've gone against it. Any organised, weaponised war against people, I'm not okay with. I'm really not okay with. And it makes, I mean, as I said, I would be someone told me to go into a town and take control, and then, it doesn't matter if they were like casualty, oh, it will matter because I'm taking you out. I'm not doing innocent people that are just trying to like farm, have potatoes, live their life. There is no way. And anyone that keeps trying to send me there, I'll send you elsewhere. That's just how it is, I'm afraid. And that's just, personally, people are like, that's crazy. I'm like, well, it's not, is it? Because at the end of the day, I am very much, I will not do something for no one. I won't sell out. I am a big believer in my beliefs. I would stand by my beliefs to a point where you have to delete me, control or delete me before I would make any action like that. And that's like honestly the opposite of a sociopath. But that's what means a sociopath is as well. Frontal lobe, don't care, here or not, doesn't bother me. You have to take me out before I do something like that. Because I think what also would upset me more is if I didn't feel guilty about saying I'd done, because I should do, because that's how my brain works. I'm like, should I be feeling guilty? I should be feeling guilty right now. Then I feel guilty that I don't feel guilty. That's a really weird thing, but that's just, I mean, at least I'm feeling guilty about something, right? That's how I like to see it, but I couldn't do that sort of thing. And it's not because people are, oh, you don't have the balls. I know, because I would just turn on the person who's trying to commit atrocities. But innocent people, yeah, I'm never about that. Never. Because, that's how you turn people into monsters, is getting innocent people and you just ruin their lives, and then you just create a load of people who are like pissed off with the world, they've lost everything valuable to them. And that is a what's it called? Flight risk, as they call it, you know what I mean? Like, that person's a flight risk. You've got so many issues there that could go wrong and arise. Being loved is so important because people have something that bounds them to something, right? You know what I'm saying? That's loves, like, no love, I mean, we only have to look at some third world countries and some beliefs in it. Some things don't click. That's just the truth of it. End of. Right. Bro, where did I put this flipping shit out? I have no idea. Not. Yeah, guys, so I will be back on the live, let's say, in 15 minutes. I like guaranteed 15 minutes. Once I've ended the live, that is anyway, and come back on. Not 15 minutes from now. Oh, great. So I'm losing everything at the moment. Amen. Hello, because that's what I mean. People think, I mean, Jewish ancestry, I don't think there's a Messiah yet. I do. 100%. I mean, I have had visions in a near-death experience. I've had visions with DMT, and I've had visions of what I felt like in my sleep, in moments where I was homeless and felt like I was going delirious. So that one could have been a bit of craziness, really. But I mean, who knows? Who actually ever knows? We don't. I think as well, the universe is too perfect. And every day I find out more and more stuff, like that diagram with like the corner of it is the perfect angle of the pyramid, and then like the moon moves perfect distance away from the earth to have a perfect solar eclipse. Like, this shit cannot be coincidental, bro. That is by design, 100%. And it makes more sense if you actually look at the story of Jesus now, how things have changed. Things used to be horrible. There were great floods, and there's proof of that. There is literally where there is no water. People go, oh yeah, but that's where just the continents change. I'm like, no, bro, because they would have then just disappeared. These whole continent changes, like the water would have changed at the same time as a continental drift, and things would have happened. But that didn't happen. The continent has remained the same. So, like, for example, you know the I can never remember what sea it is, bro. That's messed me up now. I'm gonna have to look up in a second. I can't remember the name of it. Say Mediterranean, it's not, but the Gulf. No, not the Gulf. Now I'm gonna sound stupid, so I'm gonna have to look it up. But there is a thing that completely dried out, and that dried out so quickly that it left. My point is, if something happens so fast, it will leave evidence of a great either a flooding or trauma. It's stress against the rock. It's pressure and stress from at a height that's like, how was that possibly up there? You know, you had tsunamis, and or the Sahara Desert was once actually underwater. There's things that just don't really make sense. People go, it's coincidental. There's too much that is perfect by design. It honestly is too much. And I would argue anybody right here. Debate is a better word. I would debate anybody right here about the design. And I mean, yes, there's certain things I believe and there's certain things I don't. I think we've got lost in scripture. I'll always say this. We got lost reading it because it's old biblical text that we have no way of knowing if it's 100%. When we read, like, you know, he cracked the stone and the stone, like water poured out the stone, maybe that was metaphorical for something. People were looking for this actual stone, this crack, this put, like, but maybe it did. My point is, we don't know it, or it could have been for something else. Like, he could have meant his head was a stone, he's cracked it, information's pouring out. My point, I know that's a weird analogy. My point is, it could be anything. It really, really could be, because I mean, if one thing for history of learned as well is language changes so drastically, the usage and the meaning of words, right? They might even have the same sound but have a completely different meaning. So, or they might have been written slightly differently. So we think it's one word, but it's actually, you know, there's so many different possibilities. But one thing is sure: how do people across 7 continents, right, write about the same man when they never travelled to meet? I want people to give me that answer now. I would love anybody to answer me that, because that is a fact. There are people that wrote about him all over the world, but never met in a time they didn't travel across continents like that. How do you do that? Like, that has got to be divine power, because how do you get, you know, what? A megaphone? Satellite? Radio? They didn't have anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up. Being able to write about the same guy that appeared to multiple people around the same time as well, writing about the same sort of appearance, like the Holy Spirit as well. Seeing this, how do you write? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, that is like the best coincidence ever. So he was just like, somehow at the same time, roughly, people wrote about the same apparition that they had seen, essentially, and all these things. That just doesn't happen. You know, that's like when they say, how come people drew about like lizards and all these things that look like dragons or stuff when they never met So, you know, either at one point we must have been more connected, which, yeah, I know is Pangea and the world was connected at one point, but still it's at a different time period to human evolution and still learning about Christ. So that also doesn't make sense, because we had already split by the time that happened, because you're looking 2,000, 4,000, up to 5, all this happened within a space of, let's just say 10,000 years, easy, under that period, obviously, but my point is, I also don't believe in the creation that happened in that time period. Like, the universe is older. I think we come from a different start. We think we've got the same ideologies with us, and that's why things overlap. Things don't make sense while things do. But we can never be so literal about something that we have no idea about, and then definitely not fight over it. I mean, that's pathetic. I'm pretty sure he said this. No, he said this. I'm pretty sure of it. It says it in my book. Well, it says it in my book. Cool. Have you got the person from the mouth to say it? No. Shut up then. You can still believe it, just don't fight over it, right? It's pathetic. But when people say, "Oh, say Jesus, you love Jesus," it's like if someone said, "I'll say you love Allah." Well, I'm not going to, because I'm not saying it just to be peer pressure. Because yeah, when you say, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want someone to think earlier when they say amen if you love Jesus, I just feel like peer pressure. Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't say it simply, right? But in moments of complete darkness, when I was homeless and addict, I've had these moments that just, I don't explain how you go from being the person I was to who I am through just maturity and change without, I mean, you're the same, a lot of people say the same, and they go through the maturity, they go through puberty change, they get a frontal lobe. There's like more of a frontal lobe than I do. So what is going on there is almost like being willing to open up yourself to faith. I was like, okay, I'm a broken man now, I'm a broken man. I need help. And then being able to admit that they're a broken man, that they need help from something above, something higher than you, something, you know, out of your control. I think that freaks men out, because men like to have control. So they're like, no, you know, I possibly can't. No, I'm the God, I'm in charge. Well, no, you're not. A little bit of sand, a little bit of dust, nothing. You know what I mean? But you can't expect someone to help you if you don't believe or willing to open your arms to open. It's like, well, help me if you are real. Well, no, I'll be like, jog on, mate. Do you know what I mean? Truthfully, right? I know it's like, see, God loves all people and stuff like that. Maybe. Have you asked him? But like they say, they're allowed to turn around these other, let's just say, some ideologies are allowed to turn around and be like, I saw a video yesterday, quite disturbing, and it just say it as it bloody is, really. Do you know what I mean? That's what I do. Just say it as it is. It's so two-sided, this world, and this is why I speak up on it, you know. And people might be like, what do I know about oppression, right? Nothing on other levels compared to, you know, I mean, we all have experience of a different level. Before I go into that, I really want to say this, because I really get that. And that's why I think I'm put into this corner and this label is like, people just think I'm just, it's so horrible to be here, because I feel like talking about it makes me seem vulnerable. I don't care, but I know you've got the men that come in and they don't bother me, because I know realistically that's the weakness, is not being able to open up. But when you've got a whole world that believes something, or a massive worldview against yours, it is incredibly difficult, right? Unbelievably difficult. I mean, I live in a country where the ideology absolutely hates my guts. They've just burned down Jewish ambulances, right? It is so bad. But we have to stand against unrighteousness and wrongdoings and shit like that. And if you don't, I mean, realistic, that's why I walk in light, because I'm not scared, because I know for a fact, no matter what, you know what I mean? I don't even know how to describe it, people, right? But at the end of the day, like, it pisses me off because I'm not even Jewish by faith. It's heritage, but like, does that matter to certain people, right? Clearly not. And they're like, you know, you see Sneeko, you see HS TikTok, all these people make it seem like evil. They're like, they don't even know why they flipping hate them. Like, they control you, the Jews control you, the Jews control the world, bro. Do they? My family are more Jewish than I am, and they're flipping junkies on the sofa. They don't control shit, right? stop spitting toxic ideologies and beliefs that no one has any idea about and becoming some new world Hitler, right? It's disgusting. It is disgusting. Because I would literally give my last £5 to somebody who needed it, who needed to eat. Does that make me in control? Does it make me a nasty person? Does it make me evil? Does it make me corrupt? By no means, right? At all. But I will fight that cause. I'm not like you're weak-willed. I mean, you know, there's ideologies that don't care because they believe, you know, you go to heaven and stuff. And this, me, I'm just a straight-up sociopath. So that's my belief system. I don't care. Like, you know, and I feel like I don't even know, man. It's like seeing Ross from Friends talk about it the other day on stage. He was like, this, all of his friends that are in hiding and and it's pretty sad. I'm like, bro, it is. People can't be them. And I tell you what, if you've ever seen any community with such bite and force, correct. It's the Jewish people, because of the oppression from World War II. I mean, that's definitely going to be in your DNA, no? Someone tried to say now, I said to my partner, I'll get on this train, come here, do this. Huh? You don't ever control a group like that again. It will not go down well. Because before, they had faith and trust and hope in people, right? They just thought, no, this possibly can't be real. They lies, obviously, didn't tell them it. West didn't tell them it was all hidden. It's relocating. They had one chance and they messed up. That's all I'll say. That is how you give someone a complex as well, because you try and wipe out a load of people, make them think, and tell them what, because they're rich, they're powerful, That is pushing an ideology on them. They then start believing that themselves. I don't. I think it's stupid. But you got people who do and fall for it and go, okay, well, I must be real popular, really good at everything I do. No, if you're a dick, you're a dick. If you're good at stuff, you're good at stuff. It's just how life is, you know. Nothing to do with, as I said, heritage and things like that play a small role. Star signs maybe could play a small role. All these things could play a small role, but realistically, you dictate who you are at the end of the day. That's it. So two ways about it. Oh, 100%. 100%. See, when you say about that collective consciousness as well, to be fair, it's a good way to say it. Everything is just in waves. Obviously, as I say, it's a history repeats itself. I feel like I would just be doing a massive injustice if I didn't try and spread a bit more positivity about it and be like, look, yeah, I come across with a very powerful message. I mean, don't some ideologies against it, saying like we will wipe it out, we would, you know, we'll come in your homes and we That's aggressive. Me saying what I've said, I don't think it's aggressive. I think, yes, it has a powerful point behind it, and yes, you know, I think any injustice is wrong if someone's doing something, be it the G word, right? If people know what I'm on about, don't say a word. It's an injustice on any account. It doesn't matter who you are. Can't pay God's work. You cannot pay God's work. Do not agree with that in the slightest. Can't pretend. Can't even try and think you've got that power or that knowledge. Or I don't even think we have the rights as humans. Part of me at one point did believe we didn't have the rights as humans to perform. So I've got to do this. Just getting this ready for later. I realised it's so easy to get done earlier. But yeah, we don't have. I think it's weird, right? I think. Oh, I can't get into this too much. I can't. I'm gonna literally want to start spiraling into it. Crazy world, my crazy world. I see all. I think the reason why my beliefs arise from is seeing everything that's gone wrong and going, okay, then just change it. Yeah. I mean, I thought, my brain, it actually hurts. And I mean, I'm not scared of being like, there's Tom, I don't like agree with everything he said, but about, you know, Charlie Kirk, he's like scared that he's going to be next when he's just buying groceries to go out, you know, be taken out. I don't care. I don't care. And I think that's what someone needs. Is like, there's a lot of people who don't care and they're like willing to go for their belief. I'm willing to go for my belief. 100%. 100%. I'm not scared to the point where, like, if someone wants to order from my, you know, they find out, you can just do a return address maybe or something like that, boom, find out where I live, come for me.
It would be the last thing you ever do.
Or maybe us together would be the last thing we ever do.
The final dance. Not joking, you know what I mean? I'm that sort of person. It's like, we're going out together, bro. That's just it. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to sit there with God and tell you what a twat he's been. Like, he's right in my bed. I was just doing it. I was literally just made my morning coffee. Oh. So I try and make it funny that phase. Like, you know, I've got to. That's where my dark humour falls in on it, and I don't actually have that real world fear. I have a real world belief system. Like, I think everything's stupid, but I'm like, I feel like it could be easily resolved. Easily. So many things could be easily resolved. People like, they couldn't be. I'm like, they could. They really could be. Like, there's so many things you could do different. It's almost, by design. Funny that, right? All I'll say is, if people know what warmongering is, right? You've got someone who, put it this way, say you sell missiles, right? You need to sell them. No one's buying them. What do? Provoke a little bit of a war. Or you buy this, the best tech. Buy this, best defence. It's warmongering. How do you make your money? You know what I mean? You might not want complete world. They don't want that destruction. They want to just sell defences, offence, and like footballer. Yeah, but you know, sell, attack, like long range missiles, IBM, whatever they flip them on to sell. And you know, like iron domes and things. I know how many of those. I know there's one. I think the UK's getting one in it. I have no idea. But all these things are just a scare tactic to get people to buy more and more and more and more and spend money and da. That's literally life. It's do this, buy that, do this and buy that. You know, you got this issue, buy that. You know, sell. It's funny when you see it because you're like, wow, it really is just absolutely everywhere. It's next. That's why I said I wouldn't panic yourselves too much because I think it 100% is just scare tactics to get people to buy shit. You know what I mean? And it has to be pretty convincible, otherwise people will be like, no, we're right. You know, it needs to be convincing. There needs to be footage. There needs to be scares. There needs to be like embassies attacked. And I'm not saying it needs to be, obviously it's bad, but I mean for them to realise, okay, this is a real devastating situation right now. We need to get the most updated tech. It is 101 business basics. You know, have the thing people want. Strip away all other competition or whatever, you know, beat the competition, right? Focus on that. And then it's like the whole thing is sell me this pen. Okay, well, I need to write something down. Okay, cool. I don't have to describe that one. That's shit. That's terrible. My brain needs a cigarette. It's like starting to melt. This is the issue with nicotine. The main point is like, you, unfortunately, we get caught in limelight because the public being scared pushes the government to more likely defend because you've got people pushing, we need defence, and all this shit, and public spending, increased defence spending and shit every year. Because it's just money. I just wouldn't worry little heads about it, to be honest with you. Probably is literally nothing to worry about. I know that sounds really stupid. Obviously, there's shit that gets caught in the way. I mean, like, what's caught in a crossfire, right? Of course, but I just don't think world ends dominate. It just doesn't work out for anybody. There's nothing to control. There's nothing to be in charge of. You know, it's just stupid. Right. Anyway, I'm gonna grab this. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Less than that, actually, because it's literally going to be on the doorstep sort of thing. I really appreciate your support, guys. As I said, I'm now, it's late enough to start thinking of building. I'm sorry, as I said, I really need this cigarette now. I don't know if anyone else smokes tobacco, especially. All my brain, it doesn't even have a word to it. It's just like fumbling. I know it's like fumbling almost over itself. It can't think. It's almost like being dehydrated, right? And your brain, you just can't think. You start to stutter. You start to like get stuck on words. Your brain gets brain fog. That is literally nicotine addiction at its peak. And then obviously when it starts to get worse, you just go from confusion to anger. Well, in my experience anyway, or agitation at least. Oh no. This is when it gets very difficult because I can't find papers, and then I start to freak out a little bit more because I have a time zone. I'm like a time limit. I'm like a bomb, and generally, if I don't actually have smoking a certain time, like a window, I will get very, very mad. And what I find funny, like I said, people on the live can't get me mad. It's just people on the internet, people like that don't get me mad. I've like got this wide condition in my head to think that people watching you, unless they're being nice, if they're just being a nasty person, it's like, well, they're clearly. Truthfully, it's not even being nasty, it's just the truth. They are below you. Because why on earth would someone, you know, the whole saying is pulling you down.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I don't mind being a little bit mad and triggered on like by my own stupidity, making mistakes. You know, don't want people to sit there and think, well, that's a weakness. And well, no, because I think if anything, that's a strength because you can. I'm real about it, and I think the fact I have to say that's so dumb. But we're living in a world right now where people aren't real about it. It's like, oh no, you can't cry. It's hard. You know, which is fine. Just deal with your emotions. Yeah, you do deal with it. That's you do. But you can still be like, oh, do you know what, that's a bit balls in it. I can't find this or that, or you know, it has to be like a fucking robot. My brain's thanking itself right now. Do you know what I mean? That's literally like it's calmed down already because it's like it knows it's gonna have nicotine. Don't ever smoke. Seriously. Dumb as shit. But anyway, sorry. I hope everyone's having a good morning. So I hope I'm not ruining it with my like. Not ruining it, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've got so much energy and passion about it this morning. I was so triggered after watching that. I was triggered after watching that Louis Fruit or whatever his name is. That documentary, Majesty. I was triggered. The thing is, right, I don't know how much people can really lift. But say when you've got something closer or tight to you, so if I was to get someone with my skater legs, I'll say, in a headlock, and obviously I can max out the whole hip rack. Even someone with big arms like just Tiki Toki, they wouldn't be able to get me off. Because one, if you have a further span apart, it's easier to push from this point. But trying to get from like here, if I got them in a headlock with my legs, people go, oh, that's not man fight. It doesn't matter what's man fight and what's woman fight. It doesn't matter. You're being beaten. Deal with it, right? I would literally just do because I'm light there, they think I just jump really high too because of being a skater. I'll just do like a spinning kick to your face, drop down onto the ground, get you in a headlock with my thingy. I don't care if I get hit, punched, grabbed, whatever, my hair pulled. It's long, it's a target, go ahead, right? It just gives me more fuel for my fight. That's what I'm like. And that's why I find people go, someone said yesterday, there's no way you could take on this guy. And I'm like, people really, you got me so surprised. It's that little guy doing like kung fu, like 20 flips. And everyone's like looking at him, laughing at him, but they end up just messing your shit up royally. Because I've been messed up by this tiny little Scouser kid who's done like 10 backflips in front of me. And I turned around to my mate and I was like, I don't even know what's going on right now. And then literally comes at me with a spinning kick, as we said, up into my face, nearly broke my jaw. And I did not see that coming. I was like, shit. And I was like, I was trying back up, trying to get this guy's going nuts. And obviously with a Scouse accent too, I could barely understand the bloody word he was saying, going mad at me. And that's when I realised this. I'm not just being heavy, it's just not really ideal, just to like throw a big, you know. Because the thing is, being light in the air as well, to bring a throw a punch, you could jump up really high and then use your whole body weight as like a jackhammer just to come down on somebody. If I was to come down with my elbow, it's also extremely pointy. I must have also you have bone, so at the same time that would really hurt. And I have dense bone. I don't know why. I think from skating and injuries, I don't break bone easy. It's very dense. That's why they've snapped. So doctors said if they've actually broken at the joints rather than the bones, where the pressure they should snap along the bone, they've broken at the joints because my bones are so dense, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's my point. Like the head, like, if I got no way, it's like 90 kg or something plus, and that was with ease. If I got on the head, like you're not getting my legs off around your head, especially like, you're just not. No way, no chance. I feel like I've got to try. I want to train up again. Maybe actually do like. Shall I do that? Shall I train up and try and take? Be like, do you want a sponsored fight? Do you actually want to have a sponsored like a match? If I train up again, because I used to box, I can box. If I just properly get back into shape again, and with the strength I've already got, and then be like, real man versus the I don't know manosphere, the fake crap. I don't know, because I guarantee me using my pretty much my psychotic sociopath energy, and the will will be like, this defines who then, you know, this whole manosphere thing is a load of shit. And that would power me enough to get me through it, because I say it get me so mad, so enraged. I'm so passionate about it, but then that's when that passion oversteps that line of rage as well, because it's so close. They're on that kind of very borderline, so that's borderline personality disorder. I think that's a sick idea, do you know what I mean? I will pay, if people want to see it, I don't mind it as well, because I'm not like trying to show off any, it's not showing off like that, do you know what I mean? 'Cause I'm not, but I don't mind posting the thing where I was doing the boxing a bit as well, because I haven't boxed like a few years. I've got the right movement. You can tell when someone's done boxing before because of their body, like how they move, they duck, they swing, they punch. But to me, the reason I stopped boxing is because I took enough bangs from skateboarding that I was sometimes concussed already from hitting, like, you know what I mean, and going into my trainer, Paul, was actually one of my dad's best mates at the time. So you're not out to spar for 2 years. You have to go with a punching bag and all these things. I actually gone for like, what, 3-4 years, you know what I mean? You have to do a punching bag just so you don't injure anybody. So, you know what I mean, and injure yourself. So I know very well about it. I just find it funny because it's like their main personality and persona is just making money and checking Twitch, like fair enough. And then he asked one of the girls on there, he's like, oh, what's your favourite thing about him? And then she turns around and goes, his money. Imagine that. Not his eyes, the way he holds me, the way he looks after me, makes me feel safe. His money. Do you know guys have money? All over LA, all over Hollywood, all, you know what I mean? Lots. So that's the one thing that's grounding her, bro. Good luck. Because the next guy comes in with, like, I don't know, a few more racks, a few more zeros at the end of that. But there's something you can't build. You can't replicate, and that is a bond between you and the person that's strong and got foundation in it. Nothing to do with money. This is facts, right? They're idiots. They're gonna have like no quality of a life. But anyway, this is what I love to leave. Go. Right, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm just gonna head to the door and have a cigarette. Like I said, don't smoke because you'll be able to concentrate and do something better than this. I'm not caught in this rat race. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry. That's just T-Bang them. So I just want to be able to prove it, because I mean, people, I just don't even like it. It's one thing is I thought like my partner about this. It was the funniest thing I don't know what happened, but so I was walking over to the letterbox. You get the letters and stuff like that. Post box, that's it. And I slipped on something. I don't know what happened. I can't remember very well. I asked my partner and stuff. I'll try, if we do a podcast, I'd love to talk about it, right? It's so funny. I hit the concrete, like my legs went up in the air like this, and my head went boom. From about this height, well, my head from here to hit the ground, knocked myself out. You know, because it's concrete, there's a ledge as well. Within a matter of seconds, I got up and said, and laughed apparently, like, and I was like, what happened there? I was like, did I just knock myself out? And she was like, maybe for a split second, I'm not sure. And then that's my point. Like, if my body weight slamming that hard against the concrete from up here knocks me out for a second, and that's a back of the head blow, it's way more dangerous. I mean, how do you think your fist is going to do any more damage than a few second knockout? It's not. That's why I say to people, my dad hit harder than anything that's ever hit me before. It's no booze, it's funny. You learn, and my brothers, and then the concrete. So, really on the last stuff on the list is everything else that hits you after that. Because obviously you're smaller, and then when you get bigger, punches feel like a rabbit trying to flick you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, a little paw punch. Nothing. Okay, fine, fair enough. But it's not a case of like, some people get hit once in the head and it knocks them out because their brains have actually never experienced that rattling. He's never hit and he gets swollen quite quick and burst blood vessels and stuff in the brain, but around the skull as well. But with me, as I said, I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. I was like, concrete can't even take me out. I mean, I'm lucky, obviously. The funny thing is, I don't think I'm superhuman. Very likely to injure yourself permanently, massive, like me, to a degree where you don't recover from it. I don't think I'm like. I don't want people to think I'm like superhuman because of the psychopathy disorder I've got. I don't. I just think it's kind of luck, but it also is integrity in a person. Because some people, get like impaled with a spike and then that's it. Some people have something go through their brain and they still live. They walk away from it with a bit of brain damage. I mean, how? Like, do you really? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Someone could just be completely fine, but then someone can have less of an injury but be way worse off. It shows you that people just aren't equals and the same. Not in a horrible way. I mean, it's not. You can't. There's no way to really judge on anybody because it's people have different attributes. Mine's just having bone density structure of a flipping brick wall for some reason. But as I said, like that's one thing you take. Probably because of skateboarding too. The amount of times I fell off my skateboard and, I mean, concrete hits harder at 20 miles an hour than anyone ever can. 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7. Sorry, I just like to take this out of it. It's yeah, alright, okay. Right. We are adults here. I'm 25, so we're just gonna like not do that. Okay? This is mature shit here. I mean ish. Oh, we're fun. We're fingerboarding. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain level of immaturity we can accept on this life, and that's fingerboarding. That's about it. This is as childish as we go. Adding 6 7, people think I'm just gonna. I'm a high school kid. We can't be doing that, I'm afraid. You know what I mean? No. I'm like unks. I've got unk status now. Technically, you can, because around 20s to 30s, you are like, unk wage. I mean, my aunties were like, and uncles were like 20, 30, so. Fun time to be alive. Huh? Bro, that is extremely unnecessary. White what? White nothing. Bro, I don't look it, but I am actually multiculturally diverse. So my family are like half South African, some from Claremont, Johannesburg. Some of them are actually black because they're from Claremont, which isn't particularly just a white dominated area. And then half of them from Romania. So, what? What am I then? Because I'm white and I have black heritage, Jewish heritage. I'm a bit of everything. Me, I'm like the everyone's worst enemy. It's brilliant. It's like, hey, you've got to love the world when it loves you back. Peace, love, smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Because I mean, really, it's just pathetic, isn't it? Seriously, people. So I know people say it's a joke, but then still, there's jokes that are funny, and then there's jokes that just cause issues, right? Why cause issues? It's funny because I bet you was a white person. Someone you said you would not say that in Hackney if you were down you know what I mean, down Morley's getting the chicken shop, and there's a lot of I don't even know. I think there's Somalians, there's Albanians definitely, but like a lot of Africans. Dare you to say that down there, bro? I honestly dare you. You'd get beaten the fuck. You wouldn't even be walking out of there. You'd be walking in a coffin. And people know that, and that's what I mean. Like, why even do it? Because to be fair, everyone. If you do something against a group of persons, anybody, they have a right to be mad if it's unjust and uncalled for. And there's literally no validation, no reasoning behind it whatsoever. There is no scripture anywhere on this earth that says this person's above that person. There is no writing, and if it is, it's false because there is no evidence to indicate that. If anything, women are above men because they are the creators of life. And if people want to be like, what, whoa, bro, I'm like, well, no. Men are just insecure because they can't accept being maybe second place, or it's not about being second or first place. If you really want to analyse things, women, we protect men primarily would protect the, lion. So cubs, lioness, lion, right? She protects the cub. She's a second line of defence. He protects everything, right? So it's a case of, if you're protecting something, you've got to care about it. So why has it gone from that to then like just complete mistreatment of women? Like, bro, you've got that wrong. You're meant to love them and respect them. Also said, people say in the Bible, it says you're allowed to, about not consent or something. That's actually wrong. If you read higher up, it says if someone was to commit this act, they would then have to pay the father. Bear in mind, this is a time period. They have to pay the father and wed her. They can't just, I mean, I know it sounds a bit like, my point is, compared to other beliefs and ideologies where you have multiple, it's saying if you wrongdo, you have to then treat her essentially to a life of luxury. You can't then, you know, go and, you know, not misogyny. What's the word, bro? Why's my brain gone to that word in a relationship? You just got to ultimately respect. And I'll find this scripture and show people this is 100% factual. And I love it when people try and argue that with me. I'm like, well, no, you're reading a bit below it. That's like saying, hate white people. And I don't hate white people before it. It's very, 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 very different. Very different. And just by adding a few words. And that's why I also say, when we read stuff about history, it could easily get lost in translation. It's, for bro, seriously, get a life, right? Get a life. I know you're probably not here anymore, but still, I am going to go smoke. Actually pathetic. Oh. Bet they can't. See, I wish you the best of luck in life. That's all I can say, bro. I really do. I really do. Because like me, I literally say black and white. People are scared to say that, but that's only if they've got ill intent in their heart. I know I don't. I also know I'm a mix. I know I'm like multi-diverse and cultural from my family standpoint as well. And like, that's not like the whole case, like, oh, my sister's dating a black guy, so I'm not racist. That's also done, right? But it just won't stand for any intolerance against anybody. It's not necessary, right? It's just not necessary. It's pathetic. Grow up, get a life, straight up. But like, people, I'm not scared to say anything because I mean, I lived in so many areas, I've travelled so much, and I'm like, okay, right now, the fear of fear itself is almost stupid. Fear of, you know what I mean? The fear of being, that is racism. Just be you, be honest. So, you know, people can see that genuine honesty, but like, being like that's just pathetic. It's like, get a life. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. Your mum is so dumb. My mum is so dumb. My mum is so dumb.